Hello everyone, welcome to Election Future. New polls show Donald Trump leading in every single swing state. He is on track to defeat Kamala Harris in next month's election. Today, we're going to take a look at the 2024 electoral map based on the newest polls from every state. We'll fill in the map based on poll closing times, moving from east to west, so you can see how the map will actually color in red and blue on election night. We'll begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Time when voting ends in 6 states across the eastern half of the country. Together, they make up 60 electoral votes, and the most competitive of these states is Georgia, a state that went to Joe Biden in 2020. However, today, Donald Trump is on track to win the Peach State by a whopping 5 points, according to the most recent poll. This poll was conducted by Quinnipiac, one of the most left-leaning pollsters out there. On average, Trump leads by 1.55%. And there's no doubt the former president is going to win Georgia back. Biden's victory in 2020 was an anomaly, and it is not going to happen again for Kamala Harris. Trump has led in the polling average here since last month. Therefore, Georgia, the first state we're going to fill in on our map, is going to be lean red. Next up, in Virginia, Harris's performance has been abysmal. She leads by just 3% in the most recent Rasmussen Reports poll, and Rasmussen has been one of the most accurate pollsters. On average, Harris is ahead by 4.8%, which is less than half of Biden's 10-point margin of victory in 2020. This race is starting to tighten and will only get more competitive. Trump definitely has a shot at winning a state no Republican has carried since 2004, so Virginia is going to be lean blue on our map. It is currently more competitive than Georgia based on polling data. The remaining states are going to be solidly for one candidate or the other. Trump will easily win Indiana, Kentucky, and South Carolina, while Harris will carry Vermont. After the first poll closings of the night, Trump will lead with 44 electoral votes, and Harris will trail with just 16. Next, at 7:30 p.m., voting will end in 3 states. North Carolina is going to be the most competitive of the trio. It's a state Trump won narrowly in both 2016 and 2020, and today, in 2024, he is on track to win it again. According to the most recent Emerson College poll, the former president holds a 1-point lead. He has also led in all 5 of the most recent polls conducted here. In total, we have 14 new polls from North Carolina, and Kamala Harris leads in just 2 of them. Her performance here has been terrible compared to Joe Biden, who was leading in 2020 at this point. Hillary Clinton also led in North Carolina at this point in 2016, so Trump is on track to win North Carolina for a 3rd time. It's going to be tilt red based on the most recent poll. Next, in Ohio, Trump leads by 6% in the most recent poll, and on average, he's ahead by 8. The polling here likely underestimates him, as it did in 2020 and 2016. In 2020, at this point in October, Joe Biden was actually on track to win Ohio, but in the end, he lost the state by nearly double digits. This time, against Harris, Trump could win the state by 10 percentage points or more. However, based purely on the most recent data, Ohio is going to be lean red. Of course, West Virginia is the second most Republican state in the country, and Trump is going to win it by a solid margin. 30 minutes later, at 8 p.m., voting will end in 16 states along with the District of Columbia. These states combined are worth 171 electoral votes, making this the largest poll closing of the night. Most of these states are going to be solid for one candidate or the other, with Trump easily winning down south. With solid victories in Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama, Donald Trump will extend his lead, while Kamala Harris is expected to carry Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maryland, and the District of Columbia by solid margins. Illinois, New Jersey, and Delaware will likely be blue. Before I continue, nearly 80% of you watching are not subscribed, so please take a moment to subscribe for more content like this leading up to the election in November. Now, moving on to the 4 competitive races, we begin in Pennsylvania, which is probably the most important state in the country. There's a very good chance that whoever wins Pennsylvania will win the election. Based on the most recent polling, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are tied in the latest Emerson College poll. However, looking at the previous Trafalgar poll, Trump leads by 3%. The Trafalgar Group was one of the few pollsters that accurately predicted Donald Trump's victory over Hillary Clinton in 2016. In 2016, when Hillary Clinton lost Pennsylvania, she had led by 7.5 percentage points in the polls. Today, Kamala Harris has no lead here whatsoever. Pennsylvania has been very tight over the past few months, but considering how much Trump has been underestimated in the past, he is in a strong position to flip the state back, a state he lost by just 1% in 2020. Based on recent polling, Pennsylvania is going to be lean red on our map. Up in New Hampshire, the polling shows Kamala Harris on track to win the Granite State by 7%, although this likely overestimates support for the vice president. Nevertheless, New Hampshire is going to be likely blue on our map. In Maine, the polls are also overestimating Democratic support. Harris leads by 9% statewide, while in the 1st district she's ahead by 26%. However, in the 2nd district, Trump leads by 7%. As a result, Maine as a whole will be likely blue, with the 1st district solid blue and the 2nd district likely for Trump. Finally, in Florida, once a battleground state, Republicans are dominating today. In the most recent poll, Trump leads by 5%, and he has been underestimated in every prior election. He will likely win the Sunshine State by upwards of 10 points. Both in 2016 and 2020, polling had Democrats winning Florida, but they never did. Barack Obama was the last Democrat to carry Florida, and Trump is in a very strong position to win the state for the 3rd consecutive time. Based on recent polling, Florida will be lean red. At 8:30 p.m., voting will end in Arkansas, which is solidly red. Then, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, voting will end in an additional 15 states across the country, worth a total of 163 electoral votes. Trump will easily win Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, all of Nebraska except its 2nd district, as well as Kansas and Louisiana. These states will go to him by 15 percentage points or more. For the competitive states, starting in the Sun Belt, Arizona is one of the 7 swing states. We've already filled in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia for Trump, and Arizona will likely follow suit. He leads by 1% in the most recent poll from Insider Advantage, and another Emerson College poll from just last week has the former president ahead by 3%. Looking at the 11 most recent polls from Arizona, Trump continues to hold a slim lead. Trump leads in 8 of the most recent polls, while Harris is ahead in only 3. This shows the former president is dominating Arizona, a state he lost by a narrow margin in 2020. There's no doubt he is on track to win it back. In Colorado, Democrats are ahead by 11 points. Harris leads over Trump in a Democratic internal poll, so the state is going to be likely blue. In New Mexico, the most recent survey shows the vice president ahead by just 6 points, a state Joe Biden won by a double-digit margin 4 years ago. Therefore, New Mexico will fall into the lean Democratic column. Next up is Texas, where Trump leads by 5 points according to the most recent Emerson College poll. This poll is likely underestimating him, as others have. He's probably going to win the Lone Star State by nearly double digits, but based on current data, Texas will be lean red. Moving up to the Midwest, which will likely be the most consequential region in the country, we start with Minnesota. Here, Harris holds a 3-point lead in the most recent Rasmussen Reports poll. This is a weak margin of victory, considering Harris is running with Tim Walz, the state's governor, as her running mate. Joe Biden, without Minnesota's governor on the ticket, won the state by a 7-point margin in 2020. Today, Harris leads by less than half of Biden's margin from 4 years ago. Things are looking bad for her, much like in Virginia, a state she should be winning by a much larger margin, but she's ahead by just 3 points in both states. In Iowa, Trump leads by 4% in the most recent poll. But this is also likely underestimating him. He's probably going to win the state by nearly 10 points, but like Ohio, it will be lean red on the map. In Nebraska's 2nd district, Harris leads by 9 points, so it will be likely blue. Now, Wisconsin is one of the 7 swing states left, along with Michigan and Nevada. So far, Harris has not led in any of these states. According to the most recent poll from Wisconsin, Trump has a 1-point lead, as shown by the Trafalgar Group. Recent polling has been turning around for the former president, with a recent Atlas Intel poll showing him up by 2 points. Atlas Intel was the most accurate pollster in the 2020 election. Wisconsin has always been incredibly competitive, given that Joe Biden led by 6 points in 2020 and Hillary Clinton led by 5.5 points in 2016 but lost Wisconsin entirely. Harris is probably going to lose the state. Trump is in a good position, and Wisconsin will be tilt red on our map. Trump is also retaking the lead in Michigan, the most liberal of the 7 swing states. He leads in both of the 2 most recent polls, ahead by 1% in the latest. Compared to Biden's and Clinton's polling data in 2020 and 2016, Trump is doing much better than in previous elections. Michigan is becoming more competitive, and Harris's lead is shrinking. In the betting markets, Harris's odds are down to 52.5%, while Trump's are at 45.7%, a sharp decline from a week ago when Harris had nearly a 70% chance of winning. As a result, Michigan is now a tilt-red state on track to go for Trump. In New York, things aren't looking good for Harris either, which is why we're covering it. New York is no longer a solid blue state. Harris leads by just 14 points, and since 1992, every Democrat in a presidential election has won the Empire State by at least 15 points or more. At 10 p.m., voting will end in 3 additional states. Montana and Utah will easily go to Trump, while Nevada is the last of the 7 competitive swing states. So far, Trump has carried every single one of them. Nevada may go to Harris, but with just 6 electoral votes, it's the least important swing state. However, even here, Harris is struggling. According to the most recent poll, she's behind by 1%. Trump leads in the Insider Advantage survey from just 5 days ago, so Nevada will be tilt red on our map, with Trump winning a state no Republican has carried since 2004. An hour before midnight, at 11 p.m., voting will end in the 3 Pacific states and Idaho. Idaho will be solidly red, while Harris will easily win Washington and California. However, Oregon will only be likely blue. Finally, at midnight on the East Coast, Trump will win Alaska, while Harris will carry Hawaii. Based on the most recent polls from every state, Trump leads with 312 electoral votes, while Harris has 226. This will be the worst performance for a Democrat since Michael Dukakis in 1988. Trump leads in all 7 swing states and is competitive in both Virginia and Minnesota. At no point in the past 2 elections has Trump performed as well as he is right now. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this, leading up to the election in November, and join my Discord server to chat with me personally. Link in the description below. In November will apparently be very exciting. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video and turn on the notification bell. See you in the next video.